of Venus. Happy Friday, everybody. Yeah. Rock your body. Yeah. Everybody. Rock your body right. Back streets back. All right. Behind the veil. Welcome. I shall begin once I see that you people are in here. I've been live for 38 seconds and haven't seen not a one of you. Happy Friday. Is everybody still at work? Shall I come back? Shall I skip today? You guys aren't out playing today. Maybe I should just hop on over to my members channel because they always have time for me. And you guys don't. Thank you. Hi, Paul. How are you doing this Friday? Hi, Carol. How are you this Friday? Thank you for the kind messages that you sent me. I was on a consultation. Hey, girl, Phoenix. Your cousin, Miss Carol, was texting me while we were doing our consultation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't even have to ask you. Good. I'm glad that you're good this Friday. I don't have to ask Phoenix how she's doing because she's doing good, doing great. I'm doing good, Paul. Thank you very much. I came in here not to discuss my dating life, but I know that I had posted on my main page that there was a picture from an article that I saw on Florida Today concerning NASA and their race to the moon. That's something that I asked if you guys wanted to dig into a little bit. And I only brought that up because last Saturday, my family and I were celebrating. Hey, Messy Meal. Hey, Jin Jin. Happy Friday to you all. How are you? Last Friday, my family and I were celebrating my uncle's 65th birthday, and we were out at his place. And this week, for those of you guys who don't know, I live in Florida. I live in Central Florida, so I'm not far away from Cape Canaveral, where they usually launch rockets from. Okay, so I can see them often when they do launches. If I know what time it is and I go stand in the right place outside, I can probably see it. Well, that's not something that I keep up with. I don't keep up with the launch schedule. So here we are at my uncle's house last Saturday actually. It was about 9:30 last Saturday night. We were out on the back patio barbecuing. We had the music going, good times, taking shots, all that good stuff. And I look over to the right out of my peripheral. We also have a private airport in our town nearby where I was. So I look out at my peripheral and I saw the red flame like you would do that comes out of a rocket when they launch. We saw them launch. We saw something being launched. And so we were all watching it. I couldn't get my phone out and quick enough because my phone was the DJ. It was connected to the Bluetooth, but my sisters and some of my other family that saw it after I pointed it out, they grabbed their phones and they start recording. And I was asking my sister, I was like, do they usually announce when they do launches? Because I wanted to go and check if they had announced a launch that they were doing last Saturday. Because if they didn't, then I was going to say, well, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing in the late night hours at 9:30 at night launching things? And it, it went up, and then it disappeared like it usually does. It usually comes back down somewhere in the waters of Bermuda or somewhere. Or so they say. But we saw them launching something. So if you guys saw that post that I posted on my main page, and then I even asked if you guys wanted to discuss this, it came from that because I did go on Google to see if NASA, hey Saddam, how are you today? I did go to check and see if NASA had scheduled any launches for last Saturday, and apparently they had. Now, the launch that they said was some sort of SpaceX launch in order to send satellites up in orbit. And so I was just like, okay, fair enough, fine enough. That was on Florida Today. However, I peeked around. I don't know how I got onto this article, but let me bring you guys up to brief about the topic that I wanted to look into, and that is the race between the US and China for dominance of the moon. Okay, I'm not making that up. I am on Florida Today, which is a publication, and um, I am going to move this to the side so I can read. And this is what this article from Florida Today says. And I just want to invoke thought amongst us all about some things that I think are important besides what's going on the so below. In the as above, they are already battling each other to conquer and colonize the planets. And I feel like, haven't we seen what these powerful men in their desires for conquering and colonizing of the entire universe, haven't we seen what that has done to the mundane world? Do we honestly feel like under the hands of our world leaders, after they've conquered and conquest all the indigenous peoples, do we really feel like we all benefit and thrive and prosper under the leadership and the rule of a couple? I don't think so. And so I don't feel like these men and some women in power who take it upon themselves to conquer and colonize places that um, they don't need to sustain themselves to live. I always want to know what is the driving force behind the desire to conquer and colonize other people's lands and places. So this is what this says. This is on Florida Today, and I'll answer that question in a second, Rowan. This article it's titled Jarek Isaacman Backs Return to Moon in Senate Confirmation Hearing for NASA Administrator. This was published at 3:10 p.m. on April 9th, 2025, and this is about a Senate hearing about returning to the moon. So while we are discussing and debating and distracted by, you know, Dodge and all the things, setting up a base on the moon in the ideal spot makes sense if you want to colonize the moon. By the way, nobody lives there, it's up for grabs. That is up to your opinion, but who said it's up for grabs? Who says that? Who gets to determine what is up for grabs and what's not? They also want to colonize Jupiter as well. But have you ever been there to testify yourself that there is no life there? If you haven't, then that's just your opinion, and I don't deal with opinions. So, hey, JD. Sure, but besides earthly power, there are powers above that. And do you see how their planes fall out of the skies left and right? Maybe, just maybe, there is a power that doesn't want them there. I'm just saying. That doesn't agree with whatever the plans that this government has. I believe that people can try to colonize places, but I do believe that there are consequences that come with colonizing places that are not yours to colonize. And that's my opinion. Anyways, you guys enjoy whatever reading I give you. I shall not debate. All right. Jarek Isaacman backs return to moon in Senate confirmation hearing for NASA administrator. Exactly, Carol. some key points from this article. I know a lot of the trolls in here because I'm talking intellectual topics. I'm reading. I know that a lot of people these days don't read, can't read, um, don't have the cognitive abilities to withhold certain amounts of information, and that's fine. All right. Some of the key points. Isaacman expressed support for both lunar and Martian missions, stating NASA can achieve both within its current budget. So NASA, you guys, just for you guys that have been debating about, you know, loss of the Department of Education, where's all this money going? Well, they've got a budget to go to Mars and the moon. And then I see concerns were raised about potential conflicts of interest due to Isaacman's relationship with Elon Musk. But Isaacman denied recent communication with Musk regarding NASA. So, in other words, they were saying, Sir Isaac, you want to go there because your buddy Elon also wants to do this. And this senator, this Florida senator, is saying, no, my buddy friendship with Elon has absolutely nothing to do with me wanting to go to the moon and to the Mars where Elon just so happens to want to die. No, I didn't just talk to Elon on the phone yesterday, and no, he's not putting me up to this. The Senate hearing included discussion of the Artemis program's delays and cost overruns, as well as the future of International Space Station. So whenever they launch one of their beautiful rocket ships, I always like to pay attention to what they name it. They always name it after a Greek or Roman god. And so they have a program where they're trying to launch a rocket called Artemis up to space so that they can try to set up a station, a U.S. led station on the moon before China does. That's what this article is actually about. Now, before I continue, the rocket that they want to ship to shoot off into the moon, but they're having issues with delays and cost overruns. So they're spending over their budget to try to get Artemis prepared to be launched to a lunar base. Let us, because I am a believer in looking up the definitions of names and words to get the etymology of them, let's look up Artemis and see what kind of Greek goddess that is. I already know, but for educational purposes and for those who have not, okay. Artemis is a multifaceted term. In Greek mythology, we can look that up too, Rowan. In Greek mythology, Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. Rosetta. Mind you, this is a race between the US and China to conquer and dominate the moon. They want to colonize the planets. Artemis, according to this AI overview on Google, in Greek mythology, Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. So it does in Hebrew mean to deceive. Thank you for that fun fact, my fellow scholars. Bless your minds. Yes, she is the goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and the moon, as well as a patron of childbirth and unmarried girls. Additionally, Artemis is also the name of a NASA program focused on lunar exploration. Lunar goddess of the hunt, the name of the rocket that they're trying to launch in order to hunt and colonize on the moon. Now that we understand what the name of the rocket is and what it means, we'll go back to the let's see what the etymology is for NASA since someone asked. Thank you, JD. I love you too. Okay, so let me just go back to the article. All right, so now that we have Artemis in perspective about this article, and I'm still talking about me seeing them launch that rocket up into the sky, and that's what made me curious about all of this, because I wanted to see if that was a secret launch or one that they were telling us about, and they did. It wasn't secret. They announced it. So anyways, the shift for entrepreneur turned space traveler poised to be NASA's next administrator told the U.S. Senate during his Wednesday, this is last Wednesday, um, actually 2 days ago, this Wednesday, because this article is from April 9th, told the U.S. Senate during his Wednesday confirmation hearing that he believes America can't afford to let China beat us back to the moon. Thank you, Rosetta. I also pay attention of words that they use to enforce things. So this isn't being made to seem like it's a suggestion. There's a sense of urgency that they're implying behind this. And I don't like that psychological warfare. I pay attention to words that people use because they're very powerful and intentional. And I believe that these people in power use things in an intentional way when they speak. And so the way that they speak, he believes that America can't afford to let China beat us back to the moon. That creates a sense of urgency. I believe you. I worked for Lockheed Martin for years. So does a lot of my family for generations. If you don't agree with the points that I'm making because I just started to make points, you don't have to be here. I'm not just a smart lady, I'm a wise lady. So there's a reason why I'm talking about any of this. You seem like your intelligence cuts you off from intuition. And therefore, nothing that I say will make sense to you if I'm speaking with wisdom, which is a combination of both. Thank you. And again, I'm only trying to provoke thought, but these are things that I would like for us to think about because we are all focused on the issues that are going on here. And recently, the U.S. has been going back and forth raising tariffs with China, but that's in the so below. As above, what's going on above our head is that they're having Senate hearings and meetings about trying to beat China. Now, I get it. Sure, we can all want to have bases on the moon to help us thrive here on Earth. But when we start talking about beating another country so that there isn't a red moon, that also further drives home the sense of urgency that they're trying to create. And what is so important and so pressing that you need to colonize other planets in order to sustain life here. We can sustain life here on this earth without colonizing the goddamn universe. But I believe that there is a reason for these people wanting to die outside of the earth and outside of the confines of the process of death. Okay? I believe that they want to evade the process of death like was taught in the Emerald Tablets. I believe that's what they're trying to do. And I believe that they're having delays and issues with putting that technology into place that they learned from Thoth, or however you want to, Hermes, in whatever culture and age that he came back into his reincarnation to give us humans. Goodbye, Jacob. I believe that this is what their goal is for attempting to colonize planets outside of the Earth. And so if you disagree, this is your chance to exit stage left because I'm only going to go further into this point. Then I'm going to talk about Wendy Williams in her fight with her judge. And then I am going to talk to my members because I don't have trolls on my members channel. Okay? All right. Don't tell them nothing, Rowan. We don't cast our pearls upon swine. We just get them out of the chat. You don't have to leave if you disagree, but if you're going to be a disruptor of what I have going on here, then you will be escorted out. All right. Because if you're disagreeing to why I'm sitting, if to what I'm saying, then you're only staying around to be contrary. Phoenix, I told you, I love when the trolls get here because that's when I know I got the right audience. That's when I know I'm talking about the right stuff. All right. During his U.S. Senate hearing, Wednesday confirmation hearing, that he believes America can't afford to let China beat us back to the moon. That places a sense of urgency on us, and that's not our sense of urgency to have. That's your sense of urgency. We have other things going on. This is a quote, I'd like nothing more than to see this Artemis 2 crew get around the moon, and then they're back home watching their friends walk on the moon, said nominee Jarek Isaacman. During the 3-hour hearing, Isaacman, President Trump's nominee to lead the space agency, said he believes Americans need to return to the lunar surface as fast as possible. Austin, I literally just hid you from the channel and you came right back. I've never seen that done before. Phoenix, you keep unhiding Austin. I want him to stay hidden, please. Hi, Ethereal. Hi, Q. All right, if nobody cares, Jaden Raiden, you wouldn't be here. So I guess you care, and you're a nobody that cares. All right. So there's the second in this. Oh, that's okay. He's back, but let me block him so we don't. All right. He's gone. He just keeps coming back. When he finds out he's unblocked, he keeps coming back, and it's like, why do you hate me so much, but you want to be in my face? It's so weird. It's like, argh! Shoot, she blocked me. Oh, here's a portal. I can creep back in. And another thing. He's like a roach. All right, so there's the second sense of urgency. When he says he believes Americans need. The word need means that that's something that you have to have urgently. It's a need, not a want. All right, he believes Americans, he's telling us, yes, listen to the words. He believes that Americans, meaning I'm placing this sense of urgency on all Americans, that we need to return to the lunar surface as fast as possible. Third call to urgency to the American people. Why all this urgency? These are some of the questions that come to my mind when I'm reading things. And naturally, since I have a Pluto in Scorpio and a Scorpio descendant and a Mercury in Scorpio, my mental sign, I just want to dig and investigate. Why all this sense of urgency? All right. After he said we need to get back to the lunar surface as fast as possible, they continue. Still, fears persist. After that third call to urgency, the next word they use is still. Fears. So there they introduce, after giving you those three urgency, those three reds alert, need as soon as possible. We need to beat China. Then they introduce the word fear to your subconscious. After reading all of that, then they drop in the code word. So after they program you and prime you for a sense of urgency about what they're about to say, they drop the code word in there to activate what they've been prepping you for. Fear. Still, fears persist that the new Trump administration might implement cancellations and drastically shift the focus to Mars. They are trying to make us afraid that instead of focusing on us beating China to the moon, that Elon is going to convince Trump to shift the focus to Mars, as if all of us Americans are focused on the moon or Mars. Remember what I always tell you all, and if you are my regular subscribers, then this is for you. If you are just here for the first time, or if you're a troll, then you won't get this. Remember what I said about, first of all, why they don't want to. I understand America already allegedly went to the moon, but as an American woman, I can't confirm that. And I believe the moon to be a portal of some sort. And so I don't know where they say they went. I don't know where they went. I wasn't there. All we can do is take their word and their technology for it. But I wasn't there. And I know what the ancients and esotericism says about the planets. And so I'm well within my right to question their account of things. One moment. All right. The best resources that I can give you, Jalen, is within you, is within yourself. It starts within you, and then let the spirit guide you to wherever else, whatever else resource that works for you. Anyways, still fears persist that the new Trump administration might implement cancellations and drastically shift the focus to Mars. Remember, I shared with you guys that article where Elon Musk mentioned about his ambitions to make it to Mars. He said he would like to die. He would like to pass away on Mars. And we talked about why that is. So I'll continue. I am hard pressed, and this is another quote. I am hard pressed to think of a more catastrophic mistake. Another fear word, another fear mongering word. After all of that predictive programming, before they start hitting us with their real intentions for programming us with those sense of urgencies that I pointed out, now they're hitting us with the real things that they want to put into our subconscious. And that's fear and urgency of their causes. And remember what I told you guys about consent, how we give them consent to do these things when they tell us what they're doing, and then we don't pay attention to them telling us what they're doing, and then we don't do anything about it. And then they go and do these things. These people that are talking are government elected officials. So the consent is when we elect these officials because they parade during election season on their stage, and then they pull us by our puppet strings and tell us, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do this for you. But they get in there and then they start working on their own agendas. But they do that with our consent when we elect them. I don't believe in giving power of control to anyone outside of myself. And so when they tell us during election seasons that they're campaigning for you, for the people. Remember, I told y'all about the hand symbolisms too. So remember when I told y'all I'm driving a point home, I'm going to hit you with my political hand gesture when I'm driving a point home. When they're campaigning, all talk, no solutions, and they're pulling at your heartstrings, pulling at your Democratic heartstrings, pulling at your Republican heartstrings, getting you people all riled up, feeling patriotic every election season, feeling patriotic. They come and campaign and market to you because all of a sudden they need your support. And I endorse this message for the people by the people. And then every season, the people just, whoa! Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans. This politician is for the people. This politician is for the people. This politician is for the people. And they're sitting there like, and I am for the people. Get my straight face on. Yes, I am. Yes. Excuse me. I just choked myself for real. Oh, look at the haters trying to choke me. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am for the people. And so now we're riled up. And you know what we do every election season? We look at each other. You're the problem if you don't vote. You're the problem if we don't vote. If you don't vote, you're the problem. This has been going on since before all of us has been alive. All of us has been born into the political system of today, and it's been the same show for all of our lives. It doesn't matter how old you are. We're all of various ages, and no matter where we fall in the hierarchy of ages, all of us have seen the same circus act every season. It's time for any level of elections. And so at some point, they're no longer the problem. We are. Because the actors go on stage and we always come to the show that we've seen many, many, many times because we don't know what else to do. And the one thing that is glaring us in the eyes that we should do just seems so drastic. And it seems like, and we all think it, if we all just said, F these elections, I don't want any of you. Let's just all not vote. Then it's just like, okay, but then what next? What's the solution? Sometimes that is the solution. Sometimes that's just the first step. And you just got to take that. And sometimes you don't know what the full plan is, because if you knew what the full plan looked like, you might get too scared to take the first step because of what you see the process is going to look like to get to the good side. You know, if you can see it from the beginning and then the end, but you see that on the way to the end, there's a lot of bad stuff that has to happen that makes you uncomfortable, then you'll be like, no, I don't even want to take the first step. So sometimes all we get is the next step that we should take, and that's it. Hey, sissy. Your classwork is way more important than what we got going on here. It's fear. And that's why I kept mentioning those words that they use in these articles to generate a sense of urgency first. Then they hit you with the fear words. The sense of urgency almost gets you primed and ready for something scary. We need to focus on getting to the moon as soon as possible. It is imperative for Americans to beat China. It's like, if we don't do this, what's going to happen? Now it's like, oh my God, if we don't beat China, what's going to happen? Now we're scared. Then they start hitting us with the fear words. I just want us to not be a subject or a slave to psychological warfare. It sure does, Rowan. It sure does. Let's just not. Let's just reject their deposits and not play along with whatever they're doing to us. Let's not, okay? We're better than this, aren't we? All of you. Even if you're here to troll me, you're better than that. We're all better than this. And if when you can point out the techniques and the way they do things, well, that's the first step to being better. All right. I am hard pressed to think of a more catastrophic mistake that we could make in space. First of all, I ain't been to space. I'm sure ain't none of y'all astronauts ain't been to space. So what? Who is this we? Who is this? They speak French real quick. This is a senator from Florida. He ain't French. But here he is talking about, I am hard pressed to think of a more catastrophic mistake we could make in space than saying to communist China, the moon is yours. America will not lead. We ¿Qué? We go from French to Spanish. We ¿Qué? Sir, uh, me and my viewers here, we ain't never been to space. Okay? All right? We ain't never been there. So we didn't make no mistakes. And we can't have no mistakes to make if we ain't invited to the party. How we gonna hate and we can't even get in? How we gonna hate outside the club? How's we gonna hate outside the club? Y'all the ones with all this money, power, and technology. Y'all the ones with the technology. Y'all up there fighting each other in the solar system, messing things up on Earth, messing things up in the heavens, messing shit up underneath the earth. Everywhere you guys go to colonize and conquer, you displace a native people and you fuck up everything. From the land to the climate that controls it. You just a bunch of ups. And then you want to bring us, the people in it, so we can continue to give consent, so that when the divine forces wage war against them, we caught up in the mess too, because we done gave them consent. Not I. There's a such thing as natural and spiritual law, and then there's man law. So I am looking at the words, just like you go to court. You got to study law. You got to study the words that you use. They have meaning. I see the words that you're using. I reject that deposit. As a sovereign citizen, as a human being, and a sovereign human being, that is my God-given right to be a sovereign human being. I reject you trying to group me in with whatever mistakes you're making in space. I'm not a part of that we. I didn't put you in your elected place. I didn't give you my consent. So I'm not a part of that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's how you guys have to. I reject that deposit. I reject it. That check don't, it bounced here. It bounced like a basketball. And I watched it. And I didn't even pick it up. I didn't even want my hand to touch it. I don't even play basketball. I don't even play. I got a horrible shot. A horrible shot. I, nope. It's going to go that way. So I know I ain't have nothing to do with y'all doing. Because if I made a shot, it's going not straight. It's going the other way. My mistakes would be, I make my mistakes trying to play stuff that I ain't good at. Y'all make y'all mistakes by trying to do stuff y'all not good at. All right. But let's continue. Now that I got y'all into my mind. Yes, CJ99, would you like to explore my brain? Are you one of them that watch me that want to hook me up to a machine and study my brain? For $49,000,099. I love you too, swimmingly. All right. I am hard pressed to think of a more catastrophic mistake we could make in space than saying to communist China, the moon is yours, America will not lead, Senator Ted Cruz said to Isaacman during the Wednesday hearing. So now we got Senator Ted Cruz and Isaacman talking together. And now they're like, bruh, bet. I agree with you. America needs to lead. The Senate did not vote on Isaacman's confirmation Wednesday. Many members of the Senate said that they had additional follow-up questions for the nominee. A vote could come as soon as next Tuesday, as that is when Isaacman's responses are due. In the audience was the crew of Artemis 2. Now, we ain't fighting over nothing, Tierra. We ain't fighting over nothing. Don't you be speaking French with them, Tierra. You know better than that. All right. In the audience was the crew of the Greek goddess Artemis too, the lunar huntress, who are set to fly around the moon. Mind you, they still flying around it, trying to figure out how to set up a base on it. That's another word. If we pay attention to what they say, the Artemis 2 crew is the one that they're trying to use to set up a base. So the satellites that they're launching, like the one they launched last weekend, that's supposed to orbit around. But the Artemis 2, remember, is supposed to land on the moon. But it's been delayed because of overrun costs and other delays. I believe they having a lot more delays than they want to let us know. I know why they having delays, but they said again, the Artemis 2 who are set to fly around the moon. So again, I still think that they are trying to say that they've landed on the moon, but then they slip and say that they're set to fly around the moon. I'm curious to think if any of them have a real solid base, or if those bases are not on the moon but just close to it. Maybe they consider bases the closest that they can get to orbiting close to the moon without actually landing on it. Look, For the Zone was just like, I thought you was going to get all conspiracy, but now I see you're grounded, and I still blocked them because I am going to go that way. And you don't need to be here, and it's not a conspiracy to me. You guys are weird, but I know who my trolls are. And I know which one of them come from up above. I know which one of them come from just sitting online trolling. You're all welcome too. You're all welcome. Because even you who come here to troll can learn something. Everybody can learn something. Everybody has an opportunity to be enlightened. I believe so. Martavius, I actually like your name. Martavius, about your loving. Martavius, I want to know what's on your mind. Isabella Carr. Big hands, the better to slap you with. Big hands, better to slap. Stay clear. If they big, watch your face. All right. Isaac Min's potential leadership of NASA would come as part of an administration that has already enacted layoffs at the space agency, as well as expected cuts to science mission funding. So even they are experiencing budget cuts and all of that. Oh, why did I unhide you? Oh, we must have hit him at the same time. Let me hide him again if I can. Oh, he'll pop back up. It also comes as SpaceX CEO. Oh God, the kids are here. It's about to get loud. My door is locked so they won't barge in. If you guys hear a bunch of hoorah, the kids is here. Okay, and it's Friday, so they lit. All right. Happy birthday, happy face person. It also comes as SpaceX CEO Elon Musk yields immense power as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, looking for staffing and funding cuts across the federal government. Isaac Min referred to himself as political and not as a scientist, but said he's passionate about NASA seeking out the mysteries of the universe. You guys are waiting for me to get to the conspiracy part, right? Well, there it was. But that was him. See how it went from, oh, we just need to set up a base to beat China. Now, at the end, his true intentions of trying to move us into fear to get behind their cause and give our consent. I'm not a scientist, this man who started this whole conversation, but he's passionate about NASA seeking out the mysteries of the universe. That, my dears, is why I brought up this article. And why I read through it the way I did, showed the fear mongering, showed the line of progression that showed what they were trying to say and their intent was. But the true intent always shows itself if you just let a person talk. Just let a person talk. I always listen. I'm a great observer. Just let them talk. Because they went from Artemis is supposed to land on the moon. Then it says, where is it? In the audience was the crew of Artemis 2 who are set to fly around the moon. Then they want to beat China, and launch all these satellites, for the greater good, for the Wi-Fi of it all. But no, Isaacman referred to himself as apolitical and not a scientist. He's apolitical, not a scientist. He sounds like he's a part of another type of order here that isn't focused necessarily on politics or science, but being passionate about seeking the mysteries of the universe. He's an esoteric. Yeah, yeah. It's one of my brethren. Oh, yeah. Just let a person talk and listen and read. Let those words decode in your subconscious as you read them and consume them into your psyche through your eyes. And then once they get in there, into your subconscious, watch how the mind starts turning it and playing with it if you just let it sit there and simmer. That's what it sounds like when it simmers in my mind. This Isaacman sounds like he is an esoteric person who is using politics, science, and business and the funds that they provide and the resources that they provide to get to something bigger, like the mysteries of the universe. We will. Remember what they said in building the Tower of Babel? We will build and rebuild. We will launch more telescopes, more probes, more rovers, and endeavor to better understand our planet and the universe beyond. That sounded like a declaration, but not to us. That didn't sound like he was talking to citizens. That sounded like they were talking to whomever up there they feel like is presenting challenges to them. We will begins that statement with an assertion. Us citizens don't know anything about what they've been doing up in space for them to assert upon us that we will launch more telescopes, as if we caused them to lose telescopes, more probes, as if we know anything about their loss of probes, more rovers. We don't know what happened to their rovers, and endeavor to better understand not just our planet, but the universe beyond. He's saying we will do these things and not just conquer our planet, but yours too. Who are they talking to in that statement? Because it feels different from the other statements that he was making. Those sound like he was addressing us. That sounds like he's addressing and asserting himself to someone or something else. I could be crazy. I could be. That's well within reason, me being crazy. I'm just reading words though. And this is a quote. It ends with he said, we will launch more telescopes, more probes, more rovers, and endeavor to better understand our planet and the universe beyond. He said, if confirmed, Isaacman will take over the role previously held by former Florida Senator and astronaut Bill Nelson. Former KSC Chief Janet Petro is serving temporarily as the agent head. NASA's rush is not rush a word that implies urgency? So now they're no longer implying it. Now they are admitting, after all the buildup and then the confirmation of intent, now they can just roll with it. Now they can just roll with it, with whatever they're doing and saying here, without having to give any more subconscious clues that prime and prep us to be indoctrinated. NASA's rush, now we're calling it a rush. Before it was just implied. To get back to the moon comes amid, now we get to find out where all this is coming from. Amid self-imposed pressure to beat China, which is working with Russia to plan a permanent lunar base by 2035. That's in 10 years, according to Senator Cruz. Now, for all of you wise ones who were on one of my other lives where I read an article about Bill Gates, remember what he said his prediction for humanity would be in 10 years? If you remember, I want you to say you remember, and then I'll wait. I just want to see if some of my wise ones are here with me, because I might just be talking to trolls and newbies. But if you remember, my Bill Gates, when I read that article, just like I'm doing here, remember what he said about where he predicts humanity will be in 10 years? I'll wait for one of my regulars to tell me that they remember, or at least remember the conversation. I see you, Rowan. Worthless nobody lover, what you remember? I ain't seen you in here before. What you remember? It's okay, but I know you were there. Okay, remember. And I read the article with you guys on live, so if you guys want to reference what I'm saying and quote me, because I did quote the article I was reading. Bill Gates said in 10 years, he predicts that humans will be obsolete and technology will take over 90% of what humans do. And then the interviewer was like, surely you don't believe that humans won't be able to do anything, to which he responded with his real true intention. He said, well, of course, I don't think that we'll enjoy watching robots or computers play baseball, alluding to the fact that all humans will be good for is sports and entertainment, and that technology would replace the need for humans for anything other than entertainment, to entertain them in 10 years. That's what he said he predicted for 10 years. Now, here we are. I'm going to repeat this article. NASA's rush to get back to the moon comes amid self-imposed pressure. Why are they putting this pressure on themselves? To beat China, which is working with Russia to plan a permanent lunar base by 2035. That's 10 years. Another 10-year mark. What is going on, or what do they plan to happen? What do they foresee for themselves in 10 years that they are trying to offset the burden of to us? Methinks, like I've always said, that their cycle of death, reincarnation, rebirth, if that's where they go, won't be like ours. Because because of their bloodline, their genealogy, whatever that is, and the ones who have pledged their allegiance to those elite genealogies that come from places other than true human beings, whose souls go through a certain process through the moon into the universe and back again if we incarnate into another body. Theirs, though, because they have amassed so much power and wealth on earth, it makes me to think that that is their portion. I am studying. Get out of here. Scat cat. Makes me think that is their portion. And on earth is how us humans portal out from earth through the moon into what other portals that we leave, we portal out into different places. I believe they're trying to escape something, a judgment, a punishment, a karmic reaction to a cause. If you don't believe in the more spiritual things like that, okay, then consider it cause and effect. Self-imposed pressure, though. And so if we put that into perspective, why are they imposing this pressure on themselves? On themselves. They said it's self-imposed. So this has nothing to do with the American citizens that they tried to say it was we who should be concerned. But they just said it's a self-imposed pressure. If it was a we pressure, then it would be a humanity concern, and they would say that. But it's their self-imposed pressure that they're putting on themselves, which also contradicts what they said by saying we should be concerned. This tells me that no, it's self-imposed because this has something that we don't have anything to do with. It's their self-imposed endeavor to beat China, but it has nothing to do with humanity. An extreme shift in priorities at this stage would almost certainly mean a red moon, ceding ground to China for generations to come, Cruz said. An official in the room held up a poster which posed the question of what 2030 could look like. That's 5 years. That's halfway to their 10-year mark. On the left side of the poster, American astronauts on the moon. The right side, Chinese astronauts on the lunar surface. Why do they call it something different? American astronauts on the moon, Chinese astronauts on the lunar surface. That implies a difference. That makes me curious. Isaacman said he only sees the left side of that poster, calling it a race that the United States cannot lose. Why? The citizens of the United States live on Earth. Why is the United States not concerned with its citizens on motherfucking Earth? What are they concerned about up there? And why? We stay here. We pay rent here. We grow food here. We work here. They haven't spoken to us about any plans to ship us and create life anywhere else. Why are they not focused on what they want us to be distracted by here? Now, mind you, right now, we are in arms about the U.S. and China trading tariffs with each other. But it seems like U.S. and China are actually fighting about something else above our heads. So it's almost as if they gave us something to be occupied with down here while their real issues go above our heads. This was an article from Wednesday about a Senate hearing that happened Wednesday. While they were raising tariffs down here, so below as above, they're trying to enact legislation and approve each other to raise China to the moon. Why is that their concern when they want us to be concerned with tariffs? Why aren't they telling us This is on Florida Today. This isn't a mainstream site. I would have never saw this article if I hadn't saw them launch that rocket and got curious. These are questions that I, as a human being that lives on Earth, would like to know. I'm not a part of you guys' governments, but just curious for the people. If everywhere we look on the media, on the news, social media, you guys want us to be afraid about tariffs, but on the other end, you guys seem like your sense of urgency concerning China is beating them to the moon. And you guys said this would concede us to China for decades to come, not tariffs. They said letting China get to the moon. Let me repeat. I will repeat. I will repeat. An extreme shift in priorities at this stage would almost certainly mean a red moon, ceding ground to China for generations to come. They said shifting priorities at this stage would mean a red moon for generations to come. That's they didn't say raising tariffs. I am tending to my child. You right here, baby. And now you just got disciplined by one of your elder siblings. See how I take care of my children and do my job at the same time? Superwoman in the flesh, a goddess, Venus. Here, here. Isaac Min said, okay, I just read that. We will. Oh, another assertion. Let me get my finger of assertion up. We will prioritize sending American astronauts to Mars. Bet you guys didn't know that your government was getting ready to prioritize that. Ha ha. But I just told you. See how I said you can learn something here even if you stick around and troll long enough? Because a good psychic medium is always up on things, even when I don't have to use my spidey senses. A good psychic finds things like this by seeing a rocket shoot up in the sky because I'm just in the right place at the right time. Curious enough. We will prioritize sending American astronauts to Mars. Along the way, we will, remember these we wills, we will, that is an assertion. In the tarot, the magician card means I am, therefore I will. And it's a magician, a master manifester. When they assert their wand and they have all the resources on that table, then they will manifest their outcome. We will prioritize sending American astronauts to Mars. Along the way, we will inevitably have capabilities to return to the moon and determine the scientific, economic, and national security benefits of maintaining a presence on the lunar surface. Hey, Jess. I'm sorry my comments are out of control, but as a part of me working with YouTube, I let them troll me and they don't shadow ban my lives. That's why I got mods fighting left and right. Because when I leave my comments to subscribers only, it's like YouTube gets mad at me, so they don't allow you guys to see my lives. They don't broadcast it. But when I open my chat up and allow the trolls in, I can get more people to see me. And so I've just learned to welcome my trolls because I know how to troll them back. I make them my friends. I like my trolls now because when I don't see them, then I know that I'm not talking about anything important. The harder they troll, the better the message. Then you guys will start ignoring them too. Because when you see them in droves like this, then you know to pay extra attention because I'm saying something that probably somebody wants to be distracted, derailed. Yes, and the moon, even in astrology, it rules the psyche, the subconscious. So conquering the moon, what if they can alter our subconscious, our psyches? Think about men on the moon, and for us women, our cycles are ruled by the phases of the moon. Think about these men up there colonizing and conquering the moon and messing it up. Think about what that might do to us women. What it's going to do to everything on earth if they get up there polluting and messing up things. And that's why it's not allowed. That's why they're being sent signs and symbols and signals when all of their technology falls out of the sky. Maybe there's a bigger message being sent here. I think those assertions, remember when I said, who are they talking to? I think they're talking to someone who keeps interfering with their conquering. I know. What is a black woman doing using her God-given power? I can't believe the days of your ancestors have come this far gone that black women are back in their positions. When the Sibyls have arisen again, when the real Sibyls arise, what? How dare they? How dare they? How dare she be black in this society where we don't want her black nigger baby with her nigger naps talking about things? Shouldn't she be talking about Sexy Red? We just gave them a new Sexy Red song. Why isn't she talking about that? I'll entertain you guys and talk about Wendy in a second. Then I'll go chat with my members where we can chat in peace. But for now, you guys are going to have to deal with my nigger naps and me reading articles about NASA and just troll. We will inevitably have the capabilities to return to the moon and determine the scientific, economic, and hey, baby, I'll be out in a second. TT Dina said she's going to be out in a second. Sorry, you guys, I may have to just put you guys on pause while I go greet the kids because the kids run team when it comes to TT Dina, not TT Dina run team. Hey, nephew. Hey, baby. What you guys doing? Yes, it's TT Dina. Hello, girls. Hi, honey bunnies. All the babies is here. And the baby's mamas. Hey, big baby. No. All right, Jackson. All right, bye. Gotta go. Bye-bye, Autumn. Autumn, bye. TT's working. You can't. I'm broadcasting.
I don't care.
Bye. I'll be out in a... Oh, you guys.
No, I want to be on.
No. I'm not on that kind. Oh, God. All the kids want to be YouTubers. You should hear them practicing. They be like, they don't have YouTube channels of their own. But when my nieces get together and I just be eavesdropping on them in the guest room, they be like, so guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Autumn is the oldest. She's 9. She knows that TT Dina has a YouTube. She absolutely, they're outside of my room, my window right now. I am very petite. I weigh 145 pounds. So, yes. No, you don't get a 360. All right, back to the article. Um, okay, so now the article goes down to Trump administration and Elon Musk focus on Mars. And the page is crashing, so now I can't even scroll down. Mars has come up, page unresponsive. I'll wait until it responds. I'll just refresh it. You guys see why I don't care about the trolls? I'm beloved. These kids, they love their TT, so I don't really care about anything else outside of that. Nothing gets to me because I'm loved in real life. So, all right. Oh yeah, okay. So okay, all right. And you guys do. My busted babies do. You guys have been here with me for a long time. Most of my subscribers are not come and go subscribers. It's a solid build. I am very wealthy, very rich. I live a very good life. A very abundant life. I've been a very good person to people, and so I'm surrounded by very good people. The only thing that's ever returned to me as a return to sender is love, because I've lived my life this way. And I will continue to do so because that's my responsibility and my karma in my life. And so, even you trolls, I want you guys to know, from wherever you come from, near or far, see, son, I'm yapping, but I'm showing you how to be a decent human being. In today's world, everybody is just so superficial. You don't have really good people anymore. And here I am saying I choose to try to be as good of a person as I can so that I can continue to be surrounded by beauty and love and things that matter. Lord, they sneaking stuff under my door. So one of them just drew me a picture, y'all. Special delivery under the door. Let's see what it says. Bob Ross by Autumn. Why did she draw Bob Ross? Kids are hilarious. Bob Ross, signed by Autumn. Is this a Bob Ross, guys? Because that's not the Bob Ross I remember. But if this is like some new kitty character, then it says, show in front of your fans on live. Oh, they're so funny. The live is in quotes. Why is it in quotes? I never want to show my nieces and nephews and my real family on camera, but they wasn't gonna stop coming to the door, and I have it locked, but were not gonna stop coming to the door if I did not show my face. So I had to show it so that they won't bother me for a while. But now that Autumn knows I'm on live, she probably outside the door right now. So she can, hey guys, so, because her parents won't let her have YouTube. They barely let her watch it. Mars has come up repeatedly since Trump came back into office. On multiple occasions since January, putting the stars and stripes on Mars has been mentioned during presidential speeches. Has it? You guys, just They parents ain't gonna let them have this. Ain't no rehearsal. They ain't gonna never be able to have no YouTube. They got good parents, the kind that no, not my kids on YouTube. They're gonna be 18, 21 before you see before they even get a chance to subscribe, make a page to YouTube. Their kids don't their parents don't play that YouTube stuff because they always trying to sneak stuff into the kid programming. When they come here, I got an account on my Netflix and Disney Plus and all of that. Y'all log into that, but even I don't let them get on YouTube. And my niece is old enough to look up her TT, and my sisters are not into the same type of spirituality that I am. So I don't like to expose what I do to the kids because they'll get really curious about it. And if they do get exposed, then it would have to be when they're adults because I like to respect their parents. But Autumn be clocking me. She be clocking me. My other niece, she be talking about, can she have one of my power rocks, my gemstones? She be all on my altar taking candy. I be having to tell them, this ain't the candy. Don't touch that candy. Talking about, ooh, I want a power rock. Talking about a gemstone. They're so sweet and innocent. Who calls it a power rock? Now I do. But I don't want my sisters thinking I'm teaching their kids this because they already feel a way about me being who I am. So out of respect, I like to keep the kids away from Beyond the Veil and YouTube because they'll look for me. Autumn clocked me a couple of weeks ago. She was like, Beyond the Veil. Then she went to YouTube and typed it in, and I had to say, get the but my sister's gonna have a problem on their hands because maybe their kids take after their TT Dina and their grandma. Well, their great grandma, my grandmother. That's what they tried to do to me, contain and hide the gift and keep me away from it. But it just was there. It was just there. I was drawing pentagrams and circles when I was a kid, and I was like, Grandma, I made up my own club at school. It's called the 5-Star Club. Let me show y'all what I drew. I used to make up clubs. Little did I know they were probably covens, and invite my little friends to join my clubs. And then I make up logos for them. Let me show y'all the 5-Star Club. Now, I've never seen this symbol before until I just drew it because I drew a star. The 5-Star Club. And the circle was red and the star was black. And I was just an artsy girl. So my grandma, actually in this room right here, because this was their old house. I grew up in this house. And so she came in the room and she was like looking at my drawing because I was a really artsy girl like Autumn. I drew a lot. I painted, stuff like that. She said, what is that? Now, I had known because my grandmother was a Christian by the time I was born. But before I was born, she was a root worker. She only converted to Christianity a few years before I was born, maybe 10 years before I was born. And so when she saw this symbol, it brought her back. She identified, she recognized. And I remember the first thing she asked was, where you seen that at? And I was like, nowhere. I just made it up. And she snatched that. She snatched that paper from me and ball wrenched it up in her hand. She said, don't you never let me catch you drawing that again. And I was like, why? Why? What's wrong with my arts and crafts, you hater? First time doing a seance. I took my granny's picture and I was 8, this house. I was them kid size, me and my cousins. And I took my granny's picture and I went in the kitchen, got a cup, put some water, some salt, some dish detergent, hot sauce, probably whatever was around me on the sink that I saw, a little a little bleach. I mixed it up and it bubbled up and I was like, oh, bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. I called my cousin and I sat them down in a circle And I put my granny's picture in the middle and I said, we gotta hold hands. This came to me in a dream I had the night before. I just saw myself doing it in a dream. So I called them and was like, come on, y'all, sit in a circle. Um, at that time, times was different for blacks, for spiritual blacks. Christianity was becoming more prevalent and it was causing people to look down on root workers and the pressure was different. So she folded. She started thinking that certain things that happened in her life was a result of that. So she converted, gave it all up. But sat him down in that circle and I took my little cup of concoction and I stuck my hand in there and I sprinkled that bitch. I just dabbed it just like that because in my mind you can't pour it and let it drip. You got the spirit of Dina compels thee. I actually ruined that picture because pictures was different back then and I ruined the coloring on the picture so it started melting. The picture got scary because I had to ruin the color and the ink on the picture so her face looked like this after I put my little potion on it. Yes, honey. Autumn. Oh God, y'all, Autumn back. And I started praying, and my cousins got scared. My cousins and my sisters got scared, and so in the middle of the prayer, they just threw my hands apart and they ran, Grandma, Dina in there being a witch again. Because that was the first time I got in trouble for doing what they call weird stuff. So that was a fun fact. That's why I try to shield the kids from this in respect because I knew how I was and I knew how my family tried so hard to they tried to keep it. They tried to keep it and then when they seen they couldn't contain it, they just tried to push me into the church and make me lay hands on people and they wanted me to operate in that way. If they can make me use my gifts in the church like they did, because they're gifted too, but they use them in the church. That's where they became limited though. They didn't use their gifts wasn't as good as they was raw. Like when they go try to prophesy in church, doesn't work. But when we just sitting around and somebody comes sit next to them and they start looking at you and saying, uh-huh, that's when it works naturally. But anytime they try to go and like get ordained as a prophet or something like that, it just never worked for them. So I agree. I know plenty about hoodoo. I do a mixture of a few different things. I walk all the paths though. All right, Mars has come up repeatedly since Trump came back into office. On multiple occasions since January, putting the stars and stripes on Mars has been mentioned during the presidential speeches. Do you guys remember that? Does anybody remember hearing Trump campaign and talk about one of his points being putting an American flag on Mars? I didn't keep up, so please, that's a question that if anybody remembers hearing that, because I'm just trying to fact check, because I was like, I didn't remember people saying stuff about that, and every little thing Trump said was scrutinized. I would have remembered a loud collective laugh if he had a campaign with that. You don't remember a flag? You don't remember him saying that? It says on multiple occasions since January, putting the stars and stripes on Mars has been mentioned. Listen, hold on. You guys, I need you guys to close my door.
I just want to see.
No, Autumn, I am trying to work. This is not for play, honey.
She's trying to make her video so everyone can comment below to her.
No, that's not what I'm
I
doing.
just want to hug.
No. That's not us.
When will you come out?
When I'm finished.
But when are you going to be finished?
When I'm finished talking to people. I'm talking to real people.
I know, which is a lie.
No, it's not like that. These are my clients.
Autumn, you just had to get out.
I need privacy, you guys. Autumn.
Please.
Autumn. Bye, you guys. Everybody out of my room, please. Did y'all hear me say just, did y'all hear her tell me to just tell the truth? No, they're being nosy. Autumn wants to be seen on live. I'm trying to, she said, just tell the truth. No, no. I can't because she's so freaking nosy and I'm trying to keep the peace with my sisters and keep her out of trouble. Lord have mercy. I can't. And the door was locked. They just unlocked it with a knife. They did. They did. 4 of them was just in here. The boys was under my bed. Autumn was clocking me. Nyla was at the door trying to explain. That was the Power Rock one. She's not. She's trying to so that they can like and subscribe. Yes, they unlock it with a butter knife. They know these kids ain't playing with me. They love me, but even if they are naturally inclined to these things, it's going to be like Dina is the problem. Dina is the influence. I don't like that for myself because I don't want to influence their children. Now, if it's natural, sure, but it's still going to be like it's Dina's fault. And I don't like that. That's my real life moment, you guys. That's the fine line between me being who I am and them being who they are. Yes, it's the blame game. It's the blame game. Because I'm the evil one, you know? They're still very much saved, sanctified and stuff. But them kids, you can't slick a kid. So I would love to be able to bring my nieces and nephews in on this and be able to teach them, guide them, and things like that. But I'm not their parent, so I have to respect their parents. But they don't want to respect their parents. They want to be up under TT Dina. And yes, I'm the favorite. Talking about just give me a hug. She was being slick. She didn't want no hug. She wanted to be on film. That's why I had to move the phone away because she was trying to be slick. Like if I give her a hug, I can be. She just wants to be on live in front of you guys. When they're older, if they come to me, that's fine. But they'll have to. I don't know how old. I don't know how old they're gonna have to be. And I'm getting ready to move out of the city, so they'll have to be old enough to come see TT where she lives. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about if they're 18. It depends on if they're 18 and still living at their parents' house. Because then you still got to abide by their parents' rule as long as you're in their house. And I know how it was growing up for me. Even to this day, it's still not easy for me to assert myself and be me. You know, not with my family, not with them, not with my mom, my sisters. I have extended family. They love me for this. They love me for this. My mom and my sisters mind their business. My mama, though, that's a battle in itself. Because she'll be in there, you know, trying to bind me and bind in the spirit within me and stuff. And then I have to go and pray to my spirits like, get y'all child. I feel great about moving. I'm going to move to I have my dad's brother, my uncle, and my cousin. I have family where I'm moving. I'm moving to Jacksonville. It's still in Florida, but I'll be on the border of Florida because I'm getting dually licensed in real estate in Georgia, Carolinas, Tennessee, Alabama. So if I'm in Jacksonville, I can still keep my base and keep my clientele in Florida. And then I'll be right on the border of those other states when I get licensed in them. So it's still a nice commute to all of the places I can sell real estate in. That's why I chose Jacksonville. And my uncle is there. And they feel like energetically, they feel like it's time for me to be away from this environment because it's not conducive to who I am. They accept me because my daddy used to levitate when he was a little boy. So they expect me. I mean, they respect me a little bit more, and they feel like, based on some of the things that have been going on with my internal life, they feel like they want me to move up there closer to them so that I can be taken care of like I should have been here. They're saying, come up here and let us love on you. And then it just works out logistically with my career in real estate. So when things align like that, then I identify them as time to go. And I only ended up back here because of my divorce. That was in 2019. I've healed since I've been here, recovered, got back together, and so now it's time to go. Steve, let me silence my smoke alarm for you. All right, we still got to get to Wendy Williams, but you guys just got a glimpse into my real life. Um, I don't know nobody else doing that, but I'm authentic. When did I transition from what? To a man, from a man to a woman? Boy, at birth. I'm both. On multiple occasions since January, putting the stars and stripes on Mars has been mentioned during presidential speeches. The effort has been a long-term goal of Musk. Stop there. On multiple occasions since January, putting stars and stripes on Mars has been mentioned during presidential speeches. That means Trump has been campaigning about this. Then it says the effort has been a long-term goal of Musk. If you guys were wondering why is this relationship between Trump and Musk the way it is, now you know. Now you know. Musk says, without my help, buying politicians and judges and lawmakers, you're going to go to prison. They're going to bury you. They are going to bury you not with just stuff that you did, but with stuff that they did that they're going to put on you. All your money's going to be gone, all your generational wealth. They might even come after your kids. Doesn't it look like that might have been what they were trying to do? Before the campaign, when it looked like Trump was going to prison, it looked like they was going to bury him with everything, stuff that they did, stuff that he did, stuff that the boogeyman did. They found a fall guy because they saw how much people hated Trump. Perfect fall guy. We can put everything on him, and even if it doesn't make sense, even if he didn't do it and people can prove it, ain't nobody gonna stand for him because they hate him. He was in a very peculiar situation. Very peculiar situation. His only way to freedom was the presidency. It's the only way he could get around them not burying him, was to become president again. So he had to run. And then Elon, who probably had been trying to put his bid in with former politicians before, didn't work with the Biden people and, whoever else, didn't work the first time Trump was in office. Now, Elon says, oh, buddy, you're in a tight bind there. You're in a tight bind. Looks around. None of the other rich billionaire trillionaires are on your side, buddy. Looks like I'm the only one that's willing to bail you out. Trump was like, all right, man, I'm desperate. I'm desperate. And that's how you got Trump as president, to make Elon president. Trump was in a bind. Elon said, I can get you out, but what you gonna do for daddy? What you gonna do for daddy? Trump said, what you want? Elon said, space, Mars, resources. I want to conquer the planets. That was my father's goal. When he used to search for ancient artifacts, did you guys not read Elon's mama's book? I did. Mama Muskie. I did. I read it because I'm a reader. That's how you get to know people. You read their books, and they mama's books and they daddy's books. So you can see what tree the fruit came from. You know the fruit by the tree. So I read his mama's book so I can know the tree. And she told me about her and her husband and how they sold all of their stuff to buy that helicopter so that the husband can go and explore, because he was involved with scientists and maybe people part of some sort of brotherhood. It seemed like he went searching for some sort of ancient artifact, is what it seems. They moved to South Africa, flew to South Africa after selling their stuff to buy that plane. Because what kind of investment would a plane be unless you're searching for something that you may have to travel to various places to get to? And his father did. He was a traveler. Even when they moved to South Africa, they were looking for something there. And from the east in South Africa, you're in close proximity. You're in Africa. All the ancient artifacts are there in that area. So that plane can help you based on your manuscripts and where you guys believe certain things are. You can hop in that plane and fly and come back and right in a second. Maybe he didn't find what he was looking for. Maybe his son did. Maybe he did, and maybe his son was able to capitalize off of it. But his father he was searching for something ancient, it seems. Beyond the apartheid stuff, his father seems like, from what I could gather from the clues that was being left, I think that his father was in some sort of brotherhood. They had knowledge of something ancient that probably would have propelled the technological advances that Elon has, some sort of quote-unquote alien technology. But I don't believe it's alien technology. I believe it's my ancestors' technology from ancient Egypt when it was Kemet. I don't believe they were aliens. I believe they was original human beings. I believe they were my ancestors. That's just what I believe, though. I claim them. They're my cousins. I believe they found that technology, or some sort of technology, which is what Elon is working on today. And from the seat of the presidency, because the president, America is the great whore, isn't it? She'll do business and lift her skirts for anybody. As long as the price is right. The whore that rode the beast. As long as the price is right, American will let you have a piece. Does she not? Does not every other nation have some sort of culture behind themselves? Some kind of moral ground that they stand on? Some native belief, religion, culture, spiritual system? But America, the spawn of Britain and Rome, the spawn of an affair, America, the spawn of an affair, grew up like her parents to be a great whore, an incorporated nation, a prostitute, sells herself out for the dollar. Yes, America is the great hoochie. That's why Sexy Red is all American. Sexy for president. Because America is the great whore. And Sexy Red campaigns on whore-politics. That's why she say sexy for president. The weed is here. I'm going to roll it up after my lives. Don't worry about that. Of course, Elon would think to come to America. No other country would let him do this, run amok, but the great whore. America say, where them dollars at? Where them dollars at? Oh, where them dollars at? That's America. Where them dollars at? You know America got a BBL. You know America got a BBL. Musk's starship will also be utilized as a human lander for NASA's Artemis 3 moon landing, which aims to return astronauts to the lunar surface for the first time since 1972. However, fears, these are their fears now, of the Artemis program being canceled or funds redirected under the current administration swirl. Is this why Elon is so busy going through America's pockets looking for extra money? However, fears of the Artemis program being canceled or funds redirected under the current administration swirl continues to be delayed and costs rise. It sounds to me like they're looking for some funding for this Artemis program. Looks like Elon is looking for some funding for this Artemis program. They mentioned Dodge up above in the article. Is that why they're taking away all of you citizens' luxuries? He was also after the technology of South Africa. Absolutely, I believe you. Absolutely. Absolutely. We see each other, y'all. We see each other. Is that the real purpose for Dodge? I knew I was onto something reading this article today. I knew I was going to be onto something when I saw that rocket being launched last Saturday. I don't catch those things all the time. It was so random. We just sitting outside having shots and stuff, and boom, there it goes. I was like, what is y'all doing up there? Must Starship, okay, I just read that. However, fears of the Artemis program being canceled. I think I'm going to end this here. I'm not even going to do Wendy Williams on you guys. I'm going to save that for my main chat because I don't want my mods to be in here windmilling all night just because you trolls can't keep it together. So I'll do this one, but then we'll talk on my membership about Wendy Williams. However, fears of the Artemis program being canceled or funds redirected under current administration swirl as NASA continues to be delayed and costs rise. SLS Space Launch System is the rocket which will launch the Orion spacecraft that will send astronauts to lunar orbit. You guys know Orion, but let's look into a little bit of Orion for those of you who don't. Oh, Google says Orion and Artemis. So let's look at their story together. In Greek mythology, crimes against humanity, Jeffrey, I agree. And whenever I do my prosperity juju for my clients and I appeal to the divine spirits to help me and to answer my petitions, I do so because the leaders of this world have committed crimes against humanity and have caused us to be in poverty states. So when I do prosperity, I demand reparations on justice. That's how my juju works. I always call up the wealthy and the leaders of this world on crimes of humanity and hoarding wealth that put us in this situation. So help us. And they do. I always stand on the law, even with the spirits. In Greek mythology, Artemis and Orion had a complicated relationship, often described as a combination of friendship, admiration, and even a forbidden love. While some myths portray them as fellow hunters, because all the Greeks, all the European nations seem to have hunting in common. I like to speak a lot about genealogy of the elite, where they come from, who their ancestors are. Because most of these ancient gods, I'm of the belief some of them were humans. who, through various incarnations, have evolved to godlike states. Here you have me on my last incarnation. You guys will be summoning me in my next life, petitioning me on your altars. Give me weed and wine and fine things, expensive perfumes. Yes, I will be an expensive goddess. I do this when I'm making a point without saying a point. I look unstable. It's because I am. You got to be a little unstable to be as genius. How dare you not acknowledge you aren't a fellow genius like the rest of us are? Because we all know that we're a little bit unhinged, don't we? That's what makes us great. That's what makes our minds so powerful, because they're unhinged. While some myths portray them as fellow hunters and close companions, we don't have any of those abundant hunter spirits in indigenous or African cosmology or spiritual systems. They display very human or godlike attributes. Oya, Urzulidantor, winds of change, warrior spirits, protector of mothers and women, lesbians, children, orphans, widows. Shango, god of the thunder and iron and war, righteous. The Haitians called upon him and Oya together to free them. Orunmila, Mamiwata, Yemaya, Osun, all the Lua, all of them, they all have divine attributes that help the evolution of humanity. Hunters, hunters and companions, cousins and companions. That be them other, in other mythologies, the mothers and the sons, the sisters be the baby mamas, the mamas be the baby. Even in their mythology, there's interbreeding, inbreeding, even in their gods. That's how you can tell the fruit from the tree. Others depict their interaction ending tragically, with Artemis unintentionally killing Orion. Artemis, or Orion, is a giant hunter. These Greeks sure know how to hunt. Their gods sure know how to hunt and conquer. Hunt and conquer. Orion, a giant hunter, arrives on the island of Crete and becomes a friend of Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. They together hunt and share a bond. Yes, yes, your white power. I see you representing your conquering brethren. At what cost, though? At what cost? Because as you continue to conquer, the few of you are conquering. The rest of your kind, after having to live, especially those in the US, the great conquerors live here, the great colonizing conquerors. After so many generations of having to live with mirror reflections of your true nature, a lot of your fellow white power people are starting to become more humane. They can't ignore their consciousness anymore because they keep living. They live with us. We're segregated. So everywhere your people go, they constantly have to live amongst mirrors of all the conquering and carnage. You can be proud of the conquering, but did your conquering lead to better humanity or worse? So just because you conquer doesn't mean you conquered and thrived. All you did was conquer and pillage and ruin. and then want to abandon the whole earth that you ruined through all of your ruthless conquering and messing up of natural order. Now you want to go do the same thing in space, but the elemental forces will not allow it. But white power, conquer on. I mean, integrate it. I mean, over. I'm not crying about anything, dear. You don't belong here. Okay. Do I look like I'm a crying type? Oh, I did cry last week, didn't I? I was on my cycle. That's an excuse. I'm not saying anything against white people, though. I'm saying to you that are still racist and you still are conquering, you guys are becoming few and few and few in number. Your women, they're dating. They're dating us, our brothers. They're making the mixed babies. My niece, her daddy is a mixed baby. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They Mimo is white. She gave me that penguin moo I wore for Christmas. My sister's husband is mixed. His grandparents had 4 girls, no boys. All 4 girls procreated with black men. All of them. My brother-in-law's granddad used to be racist, used to hate blacks until all 4 of his daughters went and got knocked up by him. And now his lineage looks like me. See how that works? You can be proud of all the conquering you do, but even your people are starting to get sick of the mess that all of that ruin made. And so now you guys, you racist ones within your culture, you guys are the minority. You guys are the minority. Now, the ones who still are hanging on to that Jim Crow era stuff, you all are the minority now, even amongst your own people. How'd all that conquering worked out? Because you guys have to still live amongst all the damage you've done. It's a constant reminder and a reflection. So even back in the days where you can ignore your conscience because it was tradition and it was the majority, now it's not so cool to be a bigot. Now it's cool to be down with the brown. Get with the times. You guys, get with the times. Keep up. Keep up.
Dig, everybody, dig.
They're digging outside of my window. See these kids? They play outside like we did. They digging outside of my window. It's going to be a whole, what is it, a trench out there? Damn kids. All right. Jealousy and conflict. Some version of the myth suggests that Apollo, Artemis's brother, becomes jealous of Orion and plots his demise. Look at this jealousy. How you gonna plot the demise of... He either sends a scorpion to kill Orion. Sneaky. Sneaky. The scorpion snapped up and bit him. That wasn't even an outward attack. Sneaky and conniving, aren't you? Can't win a fair fight, can you guys? He either sends a scorpion to kill Orion or trick Artemis into shooting him with an arrow. Full of tricks and... Now whose people is that? I'm just drawing parallels to God groups and people groups. These are the white gods, the Greek gods and stuff like that. And those are the prevalent gods of today. Roman gods, Greek gods. All our museums display the Roman and Greek gods with little symbols of black symbols and stuff on their clothes. If you just look close enough, you'll see them honoring where they really get their power from. I like everyone, BFX Horizon, everyone, except for people who don't like me. In some versions, Artemis kills Orion unintentionally, possibly due to Apollo's trickery. Another story, Orion is killed by a scorpion sent by Apollo or Gaia, the earth goddess. Artemis grieves his death and in some accounts asks Zeus to place him in the sky as a constellation. All right. However, fears of the Artemis program, blah, 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 blah. SLS is the rocket which will launch the Orion spacecraft that will send astronauts to lunar orbit. Artemis 3 is currently set for mid-2027, but that's if SLS Orion and Starship are all ready. SLS has already cost the United States more than $73 billion. We can talk about that in members only. Space Launch System has already cost the United States more than $73 billion. Hey, Zambia. You heard that? It says already. That means since its inception of this program, 73 billion. Or they're trying to say your education system over here is spending up money. And while we're at it, y'all federal people, y'all don't look like y'all working anyway, so we're going to cut that off. And can we take some from the old people too? No? Oh, damn. All right. We're paying for these. We're paying for them to try to escape Earth and whatever wrath and judgment approaches them. We're paying for them to do this. Consent, consent, consent. When we elect, we give consent. And then they take the budgets and then spend $73 billion. In space. Isaacman said the Artemis program should return. Y'all know they supposedly had people stuck wherever they claimed they were stuck at. The Artemis program should return astronauts to the moon before Trump leaves office, which lets me know that is the goal for Trump being in office. That was the trade-off between Trump and Elon. Space. Elon says his goal is to die on Mars. He does not want to be judged per the Earth realm, cycle of life, death, judgment, and all of that. He doesn't want that. He wants to die on Mars because he believes it will help him evade that. Maybe on Mars you can find some spirits, some beings who are also in rebellion and might help you to rebel. Mm-hmm. You want to go find some angry, fiery Martian rebellion spirits so that they can tell you how to use that technology to evade death and judgment, which is an earth cycle. Our souls go through the moon when we pass away into the halls of Amenti, into the valley of the shadow of death, or whatever you want to call it. And so we must progress forward, not into the light, but away from it, where we're judged. And as humans, we get a little different grace. We haven't been the one pillaging the earth. Compared to them, what crimes and judgment and punishment would we get? We've been slaves. So think about why they would probably be scared to die and we shouldn't. Every which way but loose. But they preach sin and hell and condemnation to us for a reason. Don't be sorry for your freak off, Stiddy. You had fun, right? It was when you start trying to atone to the divine feminine spirits once it was too late. We are absolutely beautiful, but they told us what was waiting for us. Maybe, just maybe, that's what was waiting for them. Now they flipped everything upside down. But what do I know? Isaacman said the Artemis program should return astronauts to the moon before Trump leaves office. He stated Trump never said we should not aim for the moon, and said he believes NASA can do both the moon and Mars on its current budget. On its current budget, correct? Mind you, they're cutting the citizens' budget. But on their current budget, they believe that NASA can do both the moon and Mars. Herein lies your current economic situation. Everybody wants to know why. Why are they doing this? The answer is right here. And if I hadn't saw that rocket being launched last Saturday, when asked about conflicts of interest with Musk, Isaacman continuously insisted that he has not had any recent communication with Musk. Of course he hasn't. He also said that he had not discussed NASA with Musk. Of course he hasn't. And that his loyalty is to the nation and the space agency. And that is the end. Oh, that's not the end. Sure it is, okay? Like a great politician. Sure it is. All right. This is the last piece of the article. I didn't have intentions on reading this. I read this article and I wanted to break it down because I don't need the cards for this. As for America's presence in low Earth orbit, I think that means where we are, maybe. Isaacman said he believes that the International Space Station should remain in orbit as long as needed, a contrast to recent remarks by Musk, who had stated the aging station should be abandoned in the upcoming years, possibly before the 2030 end date, to focus on Mars. Elon is going to use the United States and its resources to get him to Mars. Period. Isaacman, and there seems to be a date. This needs to be done within the next 10 years, and I'm curious to know why. What's going to happen by 2035 that is so pressing that you guys need to have your presence there? Isaacman said he supported keeping the ISS in orbit until its planned end date of 2030, and taxpayers should see that investment through. Taxpayers should see that investment through. Did you guys know you guys were making that investment? That's a rhetorical question. Just let me know if you're still in here. If you knew, as a taxpayer, that you were investing into the focus on Mars for Elon. Let me know, because I didn't. I'll start. I didn't. No, you don't. And don't let me hear you say that again. You hear me? I hope y'all ain't hear what that child said. No, he's in here talking about he hate himself. That's that Caucasian in his blood. Yes, I fuss at kids too. Talking about, I hate myself. If y'all wasn't on live, I'd have went out there and laid hands, okay? Because anytime he says stuff like that, he's a Leo. I guess dramatics just run with him. Sometimes he throws temper. Nobody likes me. I hate myself. I don't play that. TT Dina don't play that. Sometimes I pick him up and spoon him and say, oh, you hate yourself, huh? Let me love on you. Let me love on you. And then he tries to fight me, then he's okay. But yeah, I don't play that. We gonna nip that in the bud wherever that comes from. Correct him. Y'all lucky. Y'all saved him. Okay. His internet aunties and uncles saved him. Because I'd have went out there and leveled to him, got down on my knees, grabbed him by his little shirt. What did you say? Because I'm beyond. I ain't gonna beat that out of him, but we're beyond trying to, Jordan, don't say no, 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 no. Don't let me hear you say stuff like that out of your mouth. Everybody loves you. And then I smother him with kisses. Would I do that if I didn't love you? Yeah, I'm not doing that. We don't do that. We don't speak that into ourselves. Hell nah. You don't get these kisses. Isaacman said he supported keeping the ISS in orbit until its planned end date of 2030, and taxpayers should see that investment through. They don't whoop their kids. We don't. We don't. We don't have them problems. We don't have them problems. I have lived the American dream, and I owe this nation a great debt. Prove it. Prove it, said Isaacman. I will happily serve President Trump in any capacity. End quote. Well, there you guys have it. There's your whole Trump-Elon relationship, Trump's presidency, what the goals are, and they have nothing to do with whatever is going on down here. Not the tariffs. They don't care nothing about that. That's for us to play around on and pretend like that's what they're really fighting each other about. Tariffs, schmariffs. Tariffs is for consumerism, raising prices on goods for us to consume. They don't care about that. They don't care. We're going to find a way to consume. It doesn't matter how high the price is. So if they raise the price and we still consume, who wins? Who wins? Chinese are still consuming American culture. Americans are still consuming Chinese products. So at the end of the day, these tariff wars that they make us think they're doing because they're at beef with each other only benefit them. We still consume either way. Either way. If the price is up, sure, we consume a little slower until we save up the money to get what we want at the price that we want it. Never do we stop consuming. We just reach high enough to pay for the price. I used to. It's out now. So the real battle is up there. It's up there. That's where they're telling us that their 73 billion has went to a space organization that you guys have probably never heard of. Tell me, have you heard of SLS? Ever heard of that? Ever heard that just in passing on the news? Ever heard of that? Anybody? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. SpaceX, yes, but have we ever heard of NASA's SLS space launch system? Because that's what spent the 73 billion. That's who spent the 73 billion. SLS space launch system, that's a part of NASA, has already cost the United States more than 73 billion. That means already, probably since the Trump-Elon administration. Becca, 73 of them big bees, not the little bees, but the big bees. SLS has already cost the United States more than 73 billion. But I'm just a girl who knows nothing. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astronaut. I just read and read between the lines, on top of the lines, and then I let my mind, who is already a part of the universe. I let it connect with the universe, and then we start computing things like humans know how to do. Bill Gates. I want to say that humans are becoming obsolete for computers when the computers learn to compute from humans in our minds. But we give our power away to politicians and now to AI. So that's actually what I wanted to do. I didn't necessarily want to read the subject because the answers are right here. I don't even need the cards for that. The answers are right in that article. And then I wanted to just leave it as an article for the community who doesn't believe in psychic mediumship. If I approached it with the cards, I wouldn't have converted a few trolls into people who engage in this conversation, because all I did was read the article. I didn't want to dilute it with the cards this time. I wanted you guys to let the people, the scientists and the politicians and the heads of these programs and organizations, let them speak for themselves, because they do. And that's how they get away with it, because they tell us what they're doing in plain sight. And whether we catch it and do something about it or not, doesn't matter. We've elected them, which gave them consent to utilize the power that we give them. Now, true enough, they can be wrong for lying about how they utilize the power, but most of the times they don't lie. They just use certain words, which is why I also look up definitions of names and words, because they're very intentional about the language that they use so that they can get away with doing things to humans that the divine courts can't really always act on if you are one of the ones who participate or consent in this. Even in the scriptures, they say that there was a certain number that was going to be saved or righteous in the last days. That's because the majority of the world gives consent. And there's a very few who they call conspiracy theorists and things like that, who try not to engage in the system as much as they can. Those are the ones who can be saved because they didn't give consent. So the spirits are not going to act against the law of free will. She can stay. I'll watch her. One of the nieces is out there crying because they want to stay. And she, I want to spend the night here. And my sister was telling her no, so I got to come in and save the babies. Okay. Got them babies begging to spend the night. You don't make them beg to stay here. Of course they can. All right. So, any questions, concerns, feedback? God bless Iran. Absolutely. God bless Palestine. God bless anybody that's oppressed. I saw someone in here asking me how I felt about Palestine. Blessings to anybody who's under oppression. I'm gonna, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay here. We've been here for a while, and I do want to chat with my members. So I guess since we got that out of the way and I don't see any questions or concerns, I'll just wrap it up. Thanks, you guys, for joining me on this voyage out of space. I hope that this was as enlightening to you as it was to me, because it definitely, reading that article after seeing that rocket launch and then going down a rabbit hole, I definitely, um, well, since you subbed to me, Becca, I feel the need to pull a card or two, because I'm a psychic medium. So because you subscribe to me, I don't always do content like this, just reading an article. Um, and I don't want you to be surprised by the material that you see me regularly post, because that's what I regularly do. So I'll do what I do and add to the conversation so that you can also still subscribe to me based on who I am and not what I'm displaying today. Because I find when I do lives, I gain subscribers, but then it seems like when they get used to what I do on a day-to-day basis, I lose some of them. Some of them come in for a moment they catch on my live, but once I'm back to my regularly scheduled program, they're like, oh, she's one of them, even though I'm not one of them. All right, let me ask about their ambitions about conquering other planets. Most High Mother and Father God, please allow, first of all, thank you. Thank you for this live. I had trolls in here. They were a lot, but I still feel like this was a good moment for all of us to come together and put our conscious minds together and think. Think so that we can understand. Think so that we can be wise and not be ignorant and not be fools or fooled and not be oppressed when we don't have to be. When it comes to these nations, especially I'll just say the US's endeavor to conquer or dominate the universe, can you please expound on that, what their intentions are, how they're going about doing it, and just how much of a priority this is for them? And if it is a major one, why? Why is the US and the rulers of the elite of the world, the Musks, the billionaires, the seekers, the esoteric people, the scientists and all of their kind, what is their desire? To conquer space. You're welcome. God bless you. Jesus Green Amir. If you're in Iran, God bless you, wherever you are, and your people. There is life. This is Elon wanting to go to Mars. Look at this. Doesn't this look like Mars? The red planet, barren, no water. And this is Elon the Conqueror wanting to stake his claim there. This character is wearing salamanders, elemental spirits. The Jinn, their time of exploring in Africa and in the Middle East, because I'm sure his father took that helicopter from South Africa and flew it all over places in Africa and the Middle East, looking for something that I believe they found wherever the salamanders reside, the fire spirits. Which parts of Africa? Who's here from Iran and Palestine? You guys still here? You guys asked me what I think about Palestine and the war there. I think that the war is there because maybe Palestinians protect something besides natural resources that maybe the U.S. and their allies want. What do you guys protect there? I've heard some stories. I've heard some rumors about what the wars are really about. Who the Palestinians, there's a secret order of Palestinians who protect something that's in those desert lands, in those sands, locked away. Elon and the salamanders from the sands of the Middle East. Possibly. No, not ambition for ambition's sake, not even pure ego. Now, why would you want to be on a Tweakers Live? Oh, I see the trolls are back. They were gone for a while because I had stopped reading the article. Now they're back. Right on time. They never miss their window of opportunity. They come right on time. Like I said, if I don't see my trolls, then I know I ain't hitting. 3 of Cups in reverse. There seems to be everybody within their circles are not agreeing. Even in this article, there seems to be some people who want to focus on the moon, and then Elon's people, he and his crew, who want to focus on Mars. That is the problem. The Brotherhood, because these are all friends, they're all buddies, it seems, but they can't seem to see eye to eye on something related to this space stuff. Thank you, Phoenix. My finger didn't get there quick enough. 6 of Cups. Part of this is Elon's children. Having all of those children, he's experimenting, looking for something specific. In those children, I'm curious to know what all is in their DNA and how all of them were conceived and created. What kind of technology was used with those children. But also I see a giving of contracts and things like that to Elon and his people. Given. Favors in the past. 4 of Wands reverse, more continued conflict. Not today, Anonymous. We're not doing jokes today. More continued conflicts between the government, the White House, and the citizens. Of course, they always telling themselves. It's levels to trolls, but they always telling themselves, hey, Angel, more disagreement between the citizens of the U.S. and the White House, the leader of it. We'll continue to not see eye to eye because us, the everyday citizen, doesn't even know what's really going on and why they keep giving us distractions to be divisive over. They're focused up here. We're focused on tariffs and frivolous things that are already past issues to them. They don't care about any of that stuff anymore. Yet here you are, Trevor, in my life like a woman, like a little hoe. And this conversation is a matter for intellectuals. So maybe you're the feminine energy in here. A lot of money at stake going towards space. And this is in the as above position. So as above is where the pentacles are going. Above. And so below, so that that money can go above, 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles is below where the people are. Our funds are being funneled to space. Meanwhile, we, so below, are dealing with poverty. 10 of Pentacles above, 5 of Pentacles below where we are. Our money is going up there. Doesn't matter where they say it's going up there. It's going up. It's going up. And I believe conflict is being created to keep the people busy. It's provocative. It gets the people going. But again, currently the U.S. is Elon's resource to get himself to Mars. It's not their place to put us back on the moon. The source energies put us on Earth and then gave us the capability to be sustained on Earth, not on the moon. That's for our souls. Our souls can exist there, not our fleshly bodies. And they will try to probably use technology to help you do that, but then you won't be a human anymore. So when your technology fails you and you have to die because you don't have a soul consciousness anymore, will you be stuck on the red planet? Can you go where souls are supposed to go so that they can continue to evolve back to the source? Will you ever get back to the source if you're stuck where you don't belong? The goal of all of us and our souls is to return back to the source from which it came. If they can trick you out of the process of souls, since our soul goes through the moon, if you die on Mars, your soul doesn't go to the moon. It doesn't go through the moon. It doesn't have to go see the source. Elon wants to go to the moon. To Mars. He doesn't want anything to do with the moon. Because where is his soul? Does he have one? Did he trade it out with this technology? Is that why he wants to bypass having to go through the moon when he dies? The soul catcher, the moon? Please. We don't all have to come back. If you learn thy rod and thy staff that comfort you when you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death or the halls of Amenti, then you won't come back. And the rod and the staff is knowledge and wisdom. So that when your soul is going through that journey and it's a little scary and it looks like what they described hell might look like, so you get scared, instead of going forward, you go back into the light because you think, oh shit, I died and went to hell. Now I got to go back and live a better life instead of keep walking forward into the darkness. I'm not coming back here. You can come back here. Your soul and my soul ain't same. Okay? And if you stop typing me and listen, maybe you can collect the rod and the staff. Absolutely no attachments to fear. That's the rod and the staff that's supposed to comfort you on the journey into the afterworld so that you don't be fooled and tricked into coming back here to learn a lesson you didn't have to learn if you stop chatting me in my chats and open your mind and ears, close your lips. I wouldn't get on no live saying this stuff if I didn't believe in what I was saying. I'm not a fool. Hopes and fears. Hanged man. Somebody's hoping that their enlightenment that they received saves them. Somebody's been reading emerald tablets and ancient texts, and they're trying to use technology to evade a soul cycle. The cycle that the Christ spoke about that got him, I won't call him the Christ, I'll call him the big homie Jesus. He was a black man who lived, and just like Malcolm X, when you preach a revolutionary message that is against the current political and governmental climate, you get assassinated. And that time, the political and governmental indoctrination at that time was religious doctrine. Jesus actually was like, nah, bruh, that ain't it. That ain't it. And that was like, here he go. Starting a revolution, getting the people started. trying to teach them how to not come back here and be a slave. Because we need them to keep reincarnating. We need them to die, go through that soul's journey that they are going to think as hell, because they've spent so many years here with us telling us what hell looks like. But that's not hell. When you find yourself in the halls of Amenti, the underworld, the valley of the shadow of death, that's not hell. That's just what you got to walk through to get up out of here. And don't let those things that you see along the way trick you, because they cannot harm you. They can't harm you. Keep walking forward. You're going to get to another portal. Go through that one. Don't fear. Don't fear, because once you're out of your body, nothing has power over your soul but the source. So once you find yourself on the other side, outside of your body, in a place that looks a little scary, walk through, because those things only have power over the physical realm. And your body was back there on earth. You have nothing to fear. And if you know that when you die, if you know that, but if you die in fear of a devil and a hell and demons, then maybe, just maybe, when you cross over and find yourself having to walk that path to get from the earth realm to the other realms, from the lower self realms to the higher divine realms, you won't be tricked into thinking you woke up in hell and you need to go back to earth and live a more Christ-like righteous life. This is the hell, and it is for the elite. That's why they have control and power over it. We're supposed to store up our treasures for the afterlife. Karma clear, guilt-free. I ain't did nothing to nobody in this life except for my ops who deserved it. I lived a good life. I have no reason to think that I woke up in a hell, so this ain't hell for me. I'm gonna just keep on trucking. And even if there's little demon buggies running around, fortunately I've lived a life as a woo lady, so when I cross over, I ain't scared. I ain't scared. I must have chose to come back here for this. I ain't scared. Y'all better move and get off of my Air Force Ones before you scuff them. Unhand my shoes before you get your muddy paws on them. Unhand my priestly robe, you filth and disgust. Yes, scuffing up my Air Force Ones, but that's all right, because when I get through there, just brush them off, wipe them off in the waterfall, and, keep on going. I made it through there. Don't be scared. Outcome, not gonna work. Their missions are failing. Their planes are falling. Their rockets are malfunctioning. Their budgets are running over and under. So many delays. So many delays is the outcome. Delayed and denied. Delayed and denied. This doesn't mean they won't keep trying. This means they will continue to have frustrating problems with trying to shoot themselves to Mars. Ay, Dios mío. Y'all should have came to consult with me. I'd have told y'all. You could have went ahead and paid me my reparation fee of $40 million for a consultation. The reparation fee that I charge y'all elites. Pay it so I can tell y'all. I can tell you what to do. I love saying Dios mío. I love saying it. I say it at least several times of the day. Anytime I'm frustrated, Dios mío. Just frustrating themselves and everybody else and our budgets and the divine and the underworld. Just everybody like, will you? That's what's wrong with the colonizers. They don't learn even when They cause mass destruction to everything around them. That colonizer ego has to be studied. Is it ego or is it desperation? At all cost. I'm not baked yet, but when I finish, I'm going to roll up and get there. Fuck wrong with you? After delivering these messages, I deserve to roll up and smoke some marijuana, and I will, to help me bring myself down from the ethers, from delivering these messages from the heavens. I'm up in space where they trying to rocket from. I would have told them how to get there. It's from here. I'm all up in the Milky Way right now. It's from here though. But because of their DNA and ancestry, they don't have the same capabilities. They don't have the same capabilities. They can't even access the space the same way I can. I'm on Mars right now, Elon. What you want? Some hot chips? You want some hot fries? Some Takis? They got good Takis up here. They got hot Cheetos up here on Mars. Elon, you want me to bring you some back? I can. I can. Hot sausages. They got pickles. They got the little snack bowls. You know what I'm saying? Elon, I could bring you some real quick. Just real quick. They got a little Martian corner store with this Martian that run the store, but he be wearing a shiesty. He love me though. He be letting me get free stuff. I'll bring you some, Elon. I got him. I got him. Do I think I'm attractive? Bitch, look at me. The fuck? Bitch, look at me. They always be shooting their shots in here, or I don't know what they be doing, but I'm on Mars. So how can I date you from Mars? You're on Earth. What do I know about consciousness? Well, here I am alive. So anyways, I'm going to shoot over to my members. This was fun. This was cute. This was fun. I'm absolutely on Mars. I'm going to pick up Elon some Takis, a hot sausage, a pickle egg. You know what I'm saying? Because we like that from the corner store with the Martian and the shiesty. And he be letting me get it for free. They might sell chopped cheese in there too, but by the time I get it back to Earth, it might not still be hot. And don't nobody like having to reheat bread in the microwave. So I can't get you no chopped cheese, Elon. But since you like hot stuff from Mars, and I can just go here easily through my mind, and you can't seem to do that, I got you. Got you. All right, we're going over to my... Yes, come, baby. See you guys in my members live in a second. Love you. Bye. Come on.